as was said before.
I'm Jeff Steers, and with Virginia DEQ, and we're fortunate in Virginia that we, from the governor's office down, there's support for telecommuting, and that really helps to get the buy-in of management within the agency. And we've used it also, in numerous ways over the years, and a lot of it, what really is pushing it is the budget situation. We had to close a satellite office, and that really threw a lot of people into having to telecommute. In our northern regional office, half the staff now are actually telecommuting. When you have an area that's got a lot of congestion, it's much more efficient to be able to have folks that are scattered around the region to be able to do field work. And so it's as long as the accountability is there and there's good communication with the staff, we haven't really had too many problems over the years with telecommuting, and it actually has helped with maintaining the budget issues we've had.
Okay, so we've gotten several ideas, some great ideas on how we can create an environment for our workers to be able to be productive. Now let's talk a little bit about how they're going to be productive. If you look up at this slide, you see that according to the survey that you completed, 84%, 74 of 89 folks indicated that their organization has pursued some new initiatives within the last 5 years. And you see them listed there. Can you share with us how you've been able to move forward with these new initiatives in light of mandatory furloughs, and some of the other challenges that are facing us right now? Talk with us a little bit about how you've incorporated these new initiatives in your program while maintaining your commitments from a core perspective. We've got Millie from Massachusetts.
Thank you, Cheryl. At least in the Southeast region, whenever a new initiative comes down, they have numerous different kinds of flavors. Our most recent flavor was environmental justice. And so I've learned over the years that really we do a lot of core work that touches on these new initiatives and flavors, and really it's all in the packaging. So we have geo-targeted our inspections, particularly with the risk reduction angle, in GIS-based environmental justice communities as defined by our executive office. And so you're doing the same work, you're just shifting the work a little bit around, and you're still getting at the new initiative and still maintaining the support for the core initiative, which is risk reduction, evaluation, incorporation of auditing, and just planning a little bit ahead and trying to geo-target.
Okay. We've got someone over here.
Hi, I'm Roy Harbert with the state of Indiana. We've done some enforcement initiatives where we've tried to do multi-site agreements with major companies, and especially in leaking underground tank programs. So we've undertaken those with some of the major oil companies, or to target the higher priority sites and get those worked on and cleaned up first. And that's been pretty successful. Our first one was in coordination with EPA Region 5 and more formal, and then we've initiated 4 other multi-site agreements in a less formal but similar productive capacity.
Anyone else?
Cheryl?
Yes.
I don't know if you can see me.
Yes,
Mark to be with California. I'm the Solid Waste Subcommittee Chair with ASTSWMO. A couple things. One thing that we've done recently with our group is we interact a lot with our local counterparts. They do the bulk of the work at the state level. We're in a sort of audit and assistance mode. So it's really key that they provide us with the data information they're generating on a regular basis. And last year before, it was all paper-based, and we've now shifted where they can submit a bulk of that information to us electronically. And in addition to that, we've done a couple things. One is we've loaded up some of those regular reports with options where they can include other information. So we're getting not just the core information, but sort of status reports on where they're at with different processes and that sort of thing, and it's in one place, so we don't have multiple pieces of paper coming at us. And then we formatted that reporting so that we reduced the errors that we were getting. We would get incomplete reports, key information left out accidentally. That's what we hear. And so now they can't submit that document unless that key information is included. And so that's been a big time saver in terms of our review of that information. We don't spend a lot of time going back and forth and having things revised and edited or changed to get complete information. So with that slight increase in extra time, we've been able to move some of the resources over to dealing with some of these initiatives. So it's basically an example of where we've figured out how to be more effective and efficient in a core area, and then be able to use that efficiency to move over to the initiatives. And then just one observation about some of the initiatives that have been thrown at us. There's always a big sort of planning phase that we end up in, sometimes a year or more before we really start anything tangible in the field. And so we've lined up staff that are at a senior level but not yet supervisors. And so they get tasked with sort of getting into the trenches, working with our stakeholders and other agencies to sort of do that planning, come up with a good comprehensive approach. And then sometimes that plan, that approach requires additional resources, and so those are identified, and we can try to figure out where we can dig those up or ask for additional ones, which in this time we're not going to get. But so deferring to our senior staff and as sort of special projects managers has helped a lot, and allowing people to continue working on the core areas and not have to get pulled into that planning phase, at least. Certainly when the implementation comes, we'll need to find the resources where we can and go from there.
Okay. I'm going to ask if you pass that mic down to our EPA counterparts here and ask them if they would share some of the things that they're doing, other than asking states to do it. Some things that EPA is doing in order to address some of the challenges that we've been talking about this morning. This is Maria Vickers.
Thank you, Cheryl. I really appreciate the mic.
You're welcome.
I guess all of us have been feeling basically the same pain you have. And we've been doing pretty much a lot of the things you've been doing. And we have also been very sensitive to our state partners and what they've been going through. So we do feel the pain you feel as well as our own. We have been initiating webinars successfully, I think, for the past couple of years. And that's to help our state partners as well as our regional folks get to hear really quality training. And they're working very well. I've said on many of them. They're interactive to a great extent, and we can tap experts from all over the country, not only at EPA headquarters and in the States, but also from outsiders. So they're successful, and I encourage people to think about that. We also are doing, it's a federal policy that we encourage FlexiPlace, and we've been doing it increasingly. Being cognizant of greenhouse gas emissions, and we all need to play our role as federal agencies, as states, and as citizens. I think that we are in the process now, with budget situations getting tighter all the time, and having to really look at more and more of techniques that will work better for us in terms of communications, because I think it's really critical that we communicate effectively. Our profession requires it. The public service we do requires it. So we need to keep thinking about how we can communicate effectively. I'm a big believer that nothing replaces face-to-face meetings. We need those to establish relationships. But I also think that we can use technology a lot more. And we're doing a lot of work electronically as well